Campfire Classics is a classic literature podcast. However, your hosts will occasionally use not-so-classy language and immature humor to describe very mature situations. As such, listener discretion is advised.
Hi, I'm Ken Sandberg.
And I'm Heather Michelle Lawler.
Welcome to Campfire Classics, where we try to read those books that look really good on your shelf.
It's morning and I'm eating a scone. I'm eating a scone and drinking coffee.
Well, that scone chewing is going to be a nightmare for any of our listeners who have misophonia.
Oh, is that what you just looked up?
Yeah. I knew it was a thing, but I couldn't remember the word.
Yeah.
Misophonia, it's people who get really skeeved out by things like chewing sounds.
Okay, so I actually know people that have that.
So do I.
And like I get it occasionally, like, but it's not like a phobia. Like I think I think it's just like some people just chew weird. But yeah, I do know people that have that, so I do apologize. It's not like that's the first time that has happened on this podcast where I'm munching on something. But it's morning time because I just finished my opening weekend of a show. So we're recording on a Monday morning and having coffee instead of wine.
Yeah.
So I'm having a scone with my coffee because I'm classy as hell.
Well, this is a classy podcast.
It's classical, yes.
We are here to bring a little bit of erudite entertainment into your day.
Yes, Frasier would approve. I don't know how much he would dig all the dick jokes, but, other than that...
I don't know if Frasier would appreciate the dick jokes.
His dad would.
But his dad would.
Yeah.
I don't know if Kelsey Grammer would appreciate the dick jokes, but I'm
David Hyde Pierce
sure
would.
David Hyde Pierce would.
Absolutely. Maybe not as his character, but David Hyde Pierce, the human being, would absolutely dig all the classic literature plus dick jokes. Yep. From everything I've heard about him and know about him in real life.
Yeah.
So,
it seems to be a very cool dude.
Welcome to our show. This is Campfire Classics. Yeah.
So, speaking of being classy and erudite and informative, I think it's time for the first installment of Science Just in Case.
What? Okay, I had no idea this was happening. All right, here we go.
So, ethanol burns clear.
Okay.
What? So it's true, kind of. After last week's episode, we started talking about, wouldn't it be cool if there were an adult version of Bill Nye the Science Guy and whatnot.
Yeah.
So after that, I was left home alone one evening, and I was kind of bored.
All by himself.
So I decided to see if I could make it look like my hands were on fire using hand sanitizer.
Oh, my God. What did you...
It works.
What? No.
Kind of, but only if you turn off the lights. Because ethanol, the alcohol in hand sanitizer, burns a blue that is so pale that it is almost completely invisible if any lights are on. It also burns smokelessly. So when I tried it the other night in the bathroom next to the running sink, because safety first, I at first thought nothing had happened because I had hand sanitizer in my hand and put the lighter to it and the lighter went out and I didn't see any flame. And then my hands started getting warm.
Oh, my God.
So I stuck it under the running water and tried again with the lights off. And sure enough, in the dark, my hand was covered with this really cool, supernatural looking, very pale blue flame.
Okay.
It was really cool and really weird. Listeners, don't try this at home.
Okay, yes. One, don't try this at home. Two, my parents are listening to this and they're like, we're never leaving Ken alone in our house ever again as he lights up hand sanitizer in our bathroom. Is that what you did last night? Well, my parents came to the show last night.
No, it was a few nights ago.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember why I ended up being home alone.
All right, so ethanol burns almost clear.
Yeah.
And don't try this at home.
And don't try this at home. Although you could probably do some really cool like magic tricks with it, like put a little hand sanitizer on a table and light it on fire. And then, so you don't see any fire burning, but then if you put a piece of paper to it, all of a sudden the paper will catch with normal paper fire.
Once again,
and you can look like you have the ability to create fire out of nowhere.
Once again, don't try this at home. Campfire Classics does not condone lighting your table on fire so you can do magic.
Campfire Classics does not condone that. Ken Sandberg, on the other hand, very much does.
There's a lot of that in our podcast where we're like, we can't condone this, but I think it's cool. I mean, we did try to light Axe body spray on fire when we had Wayne on. So yeah, that's true. Oh well. So I'm glad to know that you're entertaining yourself while I'm away.
Yeah.
Now you've got to deal with me for the next 3 nights. So I guess either we're both going to learn that ethanol burns, or you're just going to have a no pyrotechnic kind of couple days.
Yeah. And like you can try it too if you want.
There
it was
is
fun.
A huge part of me that wants to do it right now because I love fire. I'm like, well, I'm jealous now. I was just, running a play and he's lighting things on fire.
All right, folks. So we're going to pause recording for a moment so I can show Heather that this works.
No, we are not. My dad's downstairs like cleaning for like company and we're lighting shit on fire in the bathroom. Hi, I'm in my late 30s.
This is what being an adult is for. It's because when you're a kid, you have to ask permission to do stupid shit.
That is
when
true.
you're an adult, it's just on you.
It's just on you. And then we put it on our podcast so everyone can hear.
Yeah, as my mom was always very fond of saying when I was a kid, no. But the good news is you spend most of your life as an adult and you won't have to ask permission anymore.
That is very true. That is very true. And speaking of your mom, she's going to be here this week, as is my sister and her partner, Jeff, they've both been on the show. They were our guests for
True Crimes
and a Lie once. And maybe we can do a little bit with your mama or something, because she's been a huge supporter and fan, and our educator since the beginning, because whenever we say something wrong, like as in like we kind of come up with a definition on the fly or something, because that's what we do on here, she sends an email and it's like, just being the teacher that I am, this is what it is, and it's great.
Which reminds me, I don't think we ever published an official retraction, but a couple episodes ago, the Water Ghost episode.
Yep.
The character was taking quinine pills.
Yeah.
Which we made assumptions about.
Like sleeping
pills. Really not caring. Turns out that they are pills that you would take in case you had some sort of like tropical fever. Often they help with if the fever is causing like delusions. Yeah. That was the idea anyway.
Yeah.
So
we
got that text message a couple days after that episode dropped.
The more you know.
Yeah.
Wow, this has been a very educational episode so far.
It has been, yeah.
I mean, we learned the technical term for people that don't like chewing. We've learned that ethanol burns clear, and we've learned what quinine pills are really for.
Yep.
Well, why don't we continue learning? You want to like get into this thing?
Sure.
Let's do the thing we do.
New listeners, because if we're doing our job right, every episode is somebody's first episode. What we actually do on this podcast, in case you couldn't tell, is read short stories from the public domain, which means most of them are 100 or more years old. We read them out loud, sight unseen, and try not to laugh too hard every time there's an accidental penis joke.
Yeah, which happens way more often than you would think.
Yeah. Although I'm pretty sure sometimes they're not so accidental.
Yeah.
But before we read the story, the person whose turn it was to choose the story gives a few fun facts about the author or the story or Whatever. This week, that falls upon me. Now,
Yay!
we have a repeat author this week, so
Ooh,
I'm going to take a brief moment here, instead of chatting about the author, to talk about one of the publishing entities that has loomed large over this podcast, a magazine called The Strand.
Okay.
So the Strand magazine has been the original source for many of the stories and authors that we've read. It published its first issue around Christmas, 1890, and by early 1891, it was skyrocketing in popularity, largely thanks to its regular inclusion of the mysteries of Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah!
It was actually a mutually beneficial relationship, as many of the readers were first introduced to the detective through the magazine, and others kept coming back to the magazine just for Holmes. So Holmes's popularity was expanded by the Strand, and the Strand's popularity was expanded by...
We call that a symbiotic relationship.
Yep.
Hey, I remember science.
Another good word.
Symbiotic. I've heard it both, but yeah, they fed off each other.
Depends on how douchey you're going to be about your pronunciation.
Very true.
So, in fact, the first Holmes mystery published in the Strand was the one that you read over the course of episodes 4 and 5, A Scandal in Bohemia.
All right. It's where we meet the woman.
Yeah. Irene Adler.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was an incredibly popular magazine in the UK that published fiction, nonfiction, puzzles, and general interest pieces. It was basically highlights for adults.
Oh, highlights was the shit, man.
Right?
Is that still a thing?
I think so.
I hope so, because that was like the best. We had a subscription. We definitely got a highlights every month for me. It was very exciting. I loved the can you tell the difference between these two pictures? All that stuff. And then there was usually a really fun article about environmentalism or something. And yeah, what a hippy dippy fabulous magazine that was.
Yeah, so like I said, it was basically that's what it was.
For adults. I love it.
Looks like it is still being published.
Oh my God, I'm going to totally get a subscription.
The magazine launched a new mobile app, Highlights Every Day, in April 2017.
Oh, damn. I could be doing highlights every day.
You could be doing highlights on the app every single day.
I'm downloading the app right now.
Hell yeah.
Pause.
They published their first issue in June 1946, 75 years ago. Apparently, they decided, well, World War II's over.
We need some jollity. We need some jollity in the world. Yeah, I mean, really. I mean, my parents remember it as kids. So, yeah. Okay, so they have a bunch of different apps for the different things in highlights. So
you can do just
get
the spot the difference.
Yes, I'm getting it. It's my favorite. I love that I mentioned that, and that is the first one that comes up, and it has the highest rating of stars on the App Store. So I will be, if you see me in my phone, I'm probably being a 2-year-old and playing highlights.
On June 25th, 2019, Highlights for Children's Twitter account denounced the practice of family separation at the Mexico-United States border.
That's what I'm talking about, highlights. See?
Yeah.
See? That's what's up. Love it.
So anyway,
back to the Strand.
Back to the Strand. So there was also a U.S. version of the magazine, but the general interest pieces, which usually were about a new scandal going on in England's House of Commons, weren't terribly popular in the U.S.
We're like, what?
So more and more differences started cropping up between the two versions.
That makes sense.
Just because it made sense to be geographically more appropriate.
Yeah.
The Strand was responsible for publishing works by some of our favorite authors, including Doyle, Christie, P.G. Wodehouse, Edith Nesbit, H.G. Wells, and Edgar Wallace.
All right.
Other famous contributors included Winston Churchill, who wrote nonfiction articles for the magazine.
Hilarious.
And Queen Victoria, who gave permission for a sketch she drew of one of her children to appear in the Strand.
Okay, I don't know what it looks like, but I kind of want it to be like a funny stick figure. And it's just like nepotism.
It's the kind of thing that that if a kid had done it, only their parents would like it and it would go up on the fridge.
Yeah, it looks like, you remember that part in Highlights where it was so-and-so, age 7, drew this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Queen Victoria. It's like,
so it really is. It's really just highlights.
It really is highlights. Bless her heart.
The puzzle section was filled with little riddles and brain teasers. And the first published cross number puzzle. Cross number is sort of like a crossword puzzle, but with like
Sudoku meets crossword puzzle.
Yeah,
okay,
basically.
Okay.
The magazine changed formatting during World War II because, duh.
Because highlights took over, apparently.
And by 1950, they were forced to shut down because the world had moved on and people just weren't reading stories the same way they used to.
Because highlights took over.
But in 1998, the Strand started back up, now based out of Michigan, of all places. And today, you can pick up a copy or read the online version and read new works by emerging writers and previously unpublished short stories by writers like Hemingway, F. Scott Fitzgerald, Mark Twain, Tennessee Williams, and basically a bunch of the people that we've been reading here.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
See, I thought I was like, I'm pretty sure there is still a Strand, but there wasn't until I was a junior in high school.
Yeah, they took an almost 50-year break, and now they're publishing again.
I love that. And I love that for new writers, because that's a huge thing that, like, just exposure. Yeah, love that.
Anyway, all of this info was found on the Strand's website and their Wikipedia page.
Wiki!
And this week, you'll be reading a story first published in The Strand in April 1903. H.G. Wells' The Truth About Pyecraft.
Wait, what? Are we going to learn how to make a pie?
Pyecraft is spelled Pyecraft.
Okay.
I believe it's somebody's name.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be kooky and weird, just like H.G. Wells should be.
Yep.
Yay, I'm excited.
Let's start this fire.
Let's do it.
Hey listener, this is Ken Sandberg coming to you from about 45 minutes in the future. Just wanted to give a specific little content warning. This is a story that has some views expressed by characters that by today's standards would be a little bit problematic and objectionable, and our narrator says some things that could definitely be construed as body shaming. Just a warning in case that sort of thing upsets you, and a reminder that Campfire Classics likes to make fun of assholes like that and does not condone these particular views. Thanks and enjoy the story.
The Truth About Pyecraft by H.G. Wells.
It would be great if it were the truth about making pies.
I mean, yum.
Like the skills required.
The skills of pie making.
Like pie making witchcraft.
Ooh. Pyecraft. It's the new genre of Wiccan.
Or it's a new video game. Instead of the World of Warcraft.
It's the Truth About Pyecraft.
The World of Pyecraft. You try to take over your neighbor's pie shop.
Yum, yum, yum. The Truth About Pyecraft by H.G. Wells. He sits not a dozen yards away. If I glanced over my shoulder, I can see him. And if I catch his eye, and usually I catch his eye, it meets me with an expression. Is this someone being picked up at a bar?
I don't know.
It is mainly an imploring look, and yet with suspicion in it. Confound his suspicion. If I wanted to tell him, I should have told long ago. I don't tell. And I don't tell. I don't tell and I don't tell.
Oh, like I don't tell and I don't tell. And I continue to not tell.
I don't tell.
Oh, he's got a secret.
I know, there's a secret.
Oh, is this a pickup at a bar?
I don't tell and I don't tell, and he ought to feel at his ease. If anything so gross and fat as he could feel at ease. What? Oh no! Rude! Oh shit! Rude! Whoa! That took a turn. Oh man. Who would believe me if I did tell? Poor old Pyecraft, great uneasy jelly of substance. The fattiest clubman in England. That's not what it says, but it says the fattest clubman in London.
I like fattiest.
Fattiest, and not just London, but all of England.
Yeah.
But no, it's just London. He's just the fattiest of England.
Yeah.
Fattiest of London. Oh no.
Poor Pyecraft.
Poor Pyecraft. He sits at one of the little club tables in the huge bay by the fire, stuffing. What is his stuffing? I glance judiciously and catch him biting at a round of hot buttered tea cake with his eyes on me. Confound him with his eyes on me. This is creepy.
This is so weird. What is going on?
Some chubby guy that sitting alone by the fire eating his tea and staring at a guy across the room. It's like,
yeah, this is super unsettling.
Oh, what's going on?
Although I kind of want a buttery tea cake now.
That's why I'm having a scone. Who knew? That settles it, Pyecraft. Since you will be abject, since you will behave as though I was not a man of honor, here, right under your embedded eyes, I write the thing down. The plain truth about Pyecraft. The man I helped, the man I shielded, and who has requited me by making my club unendurable, absolutely unendurable, with his liquid appeal, with the perpetual don't tell of his looks. So it's like a gentleman's club or like something, and like this guy has just made it like the worst place ever.
So it sounds like our narrator at some point helped Pyecraft with a problem.
Yeah. And Pyecraft
promised never to tell, and Pyecraft has been a whiny little bitch about it.
And apparently has driven away all his customers. So he's like, okay, well, I'm done with you. As you sit here and eat my food while you stare at me while I'm at bartending or whatever. All right, I'm excited. I want to know what Pyecraft did. And besides, why does he keep on eternally eating? Well, here goes for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Oh, good. We're in the judicial system.
Pyecraft. I made the acquaintance of Pyecraft in this very smoking room. I was a young, nervous new member, and he saw it. I was sitting alone. Oh, no, he was like the new kid in class, and like, this is the guy that befriended. He's like the Regina George of the smoking room. Okay. Because it's not going to go well. It's like the end of Mean Girls. It's like, screw you, Regina George.
And then someone's going to get run over by a Clydesdale.
By a Clydesdale, yeah. There were no buses, I guess, at the time. I was sitting alone, wishing I knew more of the members. And suddenly he came, a great rolling front of chins and abdomina, toward me, and grunted and sat down in a chair close to me and wheezed for a space and scraped for a space with a match and lit a cigar and then addressed me. I forgot what he said, something about the matches not lighting properly, and afterwards, as he talked, he kept stopping the waiters one by one as they went by and telling them about the matches in that thin, fluty voice he has.
He's not describing him in the most complimentary of terms.
No, I mean, this feels like this is very appropriate given Comedy of Errors, because the one character Dromio describes it's like chasing him around the house is like
as being
the kitchen
perfectly
went spherical. You could find countries in them.
As tall from hip to hip as from head to toe.
Yeah, like, and just like like their person, they're like what's not incestuous? What's
not incestuous? Well, that's good. We prefer it that way.
No, what's the incessant? Incessant. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. They are incessant. All right. But anyhow, it was in some such way we began our talking. He talked about various things and came round to games, and thence to my figure and complexion. You ought to be a good cricketer, he said. That's the voice that came out. All right.
Oh my.
He said a thin and fluty voice. So, you ought to be a good cricketer, he said. I suppose I am slender to what some people would call lean, and I suppose I am rather dark. Still, I'm not ashamed of having a Hindu great-grandmother.
Oh, so he's like,
he's half Indian. Yeah. But for all that, I don't want casual strangers to see through me at a glance. So that I was set against Pyecraft from the beginning. Well, shit.
I didn't like him from the start. He told me I was probably good at sports, and I took offense.
I was probably good at sports because I'm mixed race. So he's an asshole. He's like, oh, you're skinny and dark-skinned. You're probably good at sports. That's fucked up.
It's like the American contemporary equivalent would be walking up to a tall black guy and saying, so you're good at basketball, right?
You like basketball, right? Yeah, fuck them. Like, it's like, actually, no, I'm an accountant, but go fuck yourself. But he only talked about me in order to get to himself. So he is Regina George. Okay. I expect, he said, you take no more exercise than I do, and probably you eat no less. Yet, and he smiled an oblique smile, we differ. And then he began to talk about his fatness and his fatness. All he did for his fatness and all he was going to do for his fatness. What people had advised him to do for his fatness and what he had heard people doing for their fatness similar to his.
Is this whole story just going to be a weight loss
Weight
supplement
commercial?
advertisement?
It's like what was the one that was like big when I was in high school? That was like one of those diet pills. Like it was just caffeine. It was just fucking caffeine pills.
Oh.
And like it was terrible for you. Like people had heart attacks on it because it was awful.
Caffeine and a laxative.
It basically is what it was. It started with hydro something. Anyway. Something about fat. Hydra, yeah, something like that. Yeah. And people doing fatness similar to his. A priori, he said. One would think a question of nutrition could be answered by dietary and a question of assimilation by drugs. It was stifling. It was dumpling talk. It made me feel swelled to hear him. This narrator does not like this man.
Does not like this guy, although
He's already come up to him and been a little racist and basically just started talking about how fat he is and like why he's fat. That's a weird and complaining to and being a bad like customer because he complains to every waiter that walks by that the matches are too thin. And the waiters are like, I'm not the fucking manager. Like, come on, Karen.
Matchmaker.
Matchmaker, make me a match.
Sturdy and strong, so fire will catch.
Then I can light this ethanol. That didn't work. Ethanol's a hard one to put into a skin.
I can light up an ethanol fire that no one round here can see.
Whee! All right, back to swelled. One stands
Strange that he hates this guy so much, but just listening to him talk makes him swell.
Ew. Well, maybe that is where the actual issue lies. He had a little crush. One stands that sort of thing once in a way. That was the Britishest sentence of all time. One stands that sort of thing once in a way at a club, but a time came when I fancied I was standing too much. So usually when you join a club, you have to deal with some of these people because they're part of the club and you're like, okay, yeah, hi. Mm-hmm. But he was taking the brunt of this person.
He was getting this kind of interaction every time he showed up.
Yeah.
Which isn't what you want when you go to the pool.
No, exactly. It's just like, I just came here to smoke my cigar and drink my martini and swim in the pool. He took me altogether too conspicuously. I could never go into the smoking room, but he would come wallowing towards me. And sometimes he came and gourmandicized. Ooh, that's a new word.
Gourmandize.
Gourmandized.
Eat good food, especially to excess.
Okay, well, there you go. Gourmandized?
Gourmandize.
All right. So he wallowed toward me, and sometimes he came and gourmandized round about me while I had my lunch. He seemed at times almost to be clinging to me. He was a bore, but not so fearful a bore as to be limited to me. And from the first, there was something in his manner, almost as though he knew, almost as though he penetrated to the fact that that there was a remote, exceptional chance in me that no one else presented. Oh my God, what is this? Are they both aliens? Like, what's the thing? I'd give anything to get it down, he would say. Anything. Well,
if it lasts more than 4 hours.
I'd give anything to get it down, he would say. Anything. And peer at me over his vast cheeks and pant. Ew. So he's like sweating and like panting, going, I want to get it down. That's a weird conversation at the club. No. He's like, I'd give anything to get it down. Like,
inappropriate, bad touch, stranger danger.
Yeah, I would call over the manager at this point.
I wouldn't be a member of that club for very long.
No, I'd be like, is it really worth it? Have I talked to anybody else at this club except this guy?
There are other pools.
I
can go swim in the damn ocean.
Yeah, I would like find a lake.
It's England. The ocean is in literally every direction.
Every direction. Like, figure it out. Poor old Pyecraft. He has just gonged. No doubt to order another buttered tea cake.
He has just gonged?
Gonged.
Gonged, like rang the bell for...
Probably. Like, ding, ding, waiter. Like, it's like, waiter. So he's terrible to waiters. This is another reason we hate him.
Instead of the little service bell,
he has a
ding,
gong.
Ding, on the they have a freaking gong.
They have like one of those mini gongs on their table, and they're like, "Meg, come here, give me tea cakes."
I like that, but I really like the idea of so when we open our Airbnb in the haunted.
Oh, yes. The haunted
cottage
where
that has a vampire
maid,
upstairs and like ghosts running around and everything. At the front desk,
we'll have a gong.
I want there to be a giant ass gong instead of a little service bell.
I love it.
So when people come in, they're like, where's the...
Do I ring this?
Gong!
I don't think they work like cartoons, but...
Yes, they do.
Okay. We'll get a cartoon gong.
We'll get a cartoon gong.
All right, we've gonged. We have gonged. He came to the actual thing one day. Our pharmacopoeia, he said. Our Western pharmacopoeia. I'm guessing pharmaceutical,
yes.
But he's saying pharmacopoeia. Just sounds like it's like a cornucopia of food, but it's a pharmacopoeia of medicine.
It is the horn of drugs.
The horn of drugs.
Yes.
Great. Is anything but the last word of medical science. In the East, I've been told.
Oh no, is he going to ask for help from his Hindu great-grandmother?
He stopped and stared at me. It was like being at an aquarium. I was quite suddenly angry with him. Look here, I said. Who told you about my great-grandmother's recipes? Oh, shit. Oh, shit. He's like, okay, you racist fuck. Who told you?
But no, you're
but
right.
You're right. She makes wonderful Eastern medicines, and I'm not giving them to you because I hate you. Well, he fenced. Every time we've met for a week, I said, and we've met pretty often, you've given me a broad hint or so about that little secret of mine. Well, he said, now the cat's out of the bag, I'll admit. Yes, it is so. I had it from Patterson. Indirectly, he said, which I believe was lying. Yes. Pattinson, I said. Who the hell's Pattinson? What an asshole.
Fucking Robert Pattinson.
Damn vampire, speaking of.
Going around and sharing all my family secrets.
And sparkling in a vampire.
Being all beautiful
sexy.
And...
Pattinson, I said, took that stuff at his own risk. Oh, shit. Did he kill somebody? Oh, no.
Well, if he killed him, then the only way Pyecraft heard it from Pattinson is if Pattinson is now a ghost.
He pursed his mouth and bowed. My great-grandmother's recipes, I said, are queer things to handle. My father was near making me promise. He didn't. No, but he warned me. He himself used one. Once. Ah, but don't you think? Suppose there did happen to be one. The things are curious documents, I said. Even the smell of 'em, no? What is happening? But after so far, Pyecraft was resolved I should go farther. I was always a little afraid if I tried his patience too much, he would fall on me suddenly and smother me. Jesus Christ. I own I was weak, but I was also annoyed with Pyecraft. I had got to the state of feeling for him that disposed me to say, well, take the risk. The little affair of Pattinson, to which I have alluded, was a different matter altogether. What it was doesn't concern us now, but I knew, anyhow, that the particular recipe I used then was safe. The rest I didn't know so much about, and on the whole, I was inclined to doubt their safety pretty completely. So this is a under-the-table drug lord right now.
Yeah.
Is basically what it is.
He is dabbling in not FDA-approved ancient home remedies.
Ancient remedies that he is dispersing under the table at his club. All right. Yet, even if Pyecraft got poisoned... ... I must admit the poisoning of Pyecraft struck me as an immense undertaking. Was he going to kill him? What's going on?
Well, no, we know that he's not going to kill him because
he hates him now.
Well, no, but because we've already heard how this part of the story finishes.
Yeah.
Because we
Pyecraft
know that
is staring at him.
Pyecraft survives and just ends up looking at him creepily from across the bar.
That evening, I took that queer, odd-scented sandalwood box out of my safe and turned the rustling skins over. The gentleman who wrote the recipes for my great-grandmother evidently had a weakness for skins of a Skins? What's going on?
Well, the papers, the pages.
Oh, okay. It's like, ew, are these written on the skins of, like, squirrels? Like, what's going on?
Well, that's also possible.
Possible.
But...
The gentleman who wrote the recipes for my great-grandmother evidently had a weakness for skins of a miscellaneous origin, and his handwriting was cramped to the last degree. Okay, so you're making medicinal, like, things from your great-grandmother who you probably never even met, and you can't really read the handwriting. I think this is a bad choice.
And they're all written on dried squirrel skin, which is weird.
Some of the things are quite unreadable to me, though my family, with its Indian Civil Service associations, has kept up a knowledge of Hindustani from generation to generation, and none are absolutely plain sailing. But I found the one that I knew was there soon enough, and sat on the floor by my safe for some time looking at it. "Look here," said I to Pyecraft the next day, and snatched the slip away from his eager grasp. "So far as I can make out, this is a recipe for loss of weight." "Ah," said Pyecraft. Jesus. "I'm not absolutely sure, but I think it's that. And if you take my advice, you'll leave it alone, because, you know, I blackened my blood in your interest, Pyecraft. My ancestors on that side were, so far as I can gather, a jolly queer lot. See?" "Let me try it," said Pyecraft. I leaned back in my chair. My imagination made one mighty effort and fell flat within me. What in heaven's name, Pyecraft, I asked, do you think you'll look like when you get thin? It's like, dude, your entire presence is being the fatty. It's fine. You're like Santa Claus. If you get thin, no one will recognize you. And this is far before we had the technology to do like skin removal surgery. So, yeah, he's just trying to help. Actually, he's trying to keep him from taking that medicine, it seems.
Well, he is trying to help.
Yep. He was impervious to reason. I made him promise never to say a word to me about his disgusting fatness again, whatever happened. Never. And then I handed him that little piece of skin. Ew. Ew.
Such a horrifying word choice.
He means paper, but it sounds gross. It's like, this is from my bris. Here you go. Pop it in a little cup of tea. It's fat loss. Here's a little piece of skin. I apologize.
I'm horrified by everything that is happening right now.
I mean, we don't know what the recipe is. They haven't told us. And then he says, it's nasty stuff, I said. No matter, he said, and took it. He goggled at it. But, he said, he had just discovered that it wasn't in English. To the best of my ability, I said, I will do you a translation. I did my best. After that, we didn't speak for a fortnight. Whenever he approached me, I frowned and motioned him away, and he respected our compact. But at the end of a fortnight, he was as fat as ever, and then he got a word in. I must speak, he said. It isn't fair. There's something wrong. It's done me no good. You're not doing your great-grandmother justice. Where's the recipe? He pronounced it gingerly from his pocketbook. I ran my eye over the items. Was the egg added? I asked. No, ought to it have been? That, I said, goes without saying in all my poor dear great-grandmother's recipes. When condition or quality is not specified, you must get the worst. She was drastic or nothing. And there's one or two possible alternatives to some of the other things. You got fresh rattlesnake venom?
What?
We're going to get the recipe slowly. Yeah.
All right, so far we know we need an egg and rattlesnake
venom. Fresh rattlesnake venom.
Eye of newt and koala foreskin.
Yeah, I feel like this is not going to go well. Koala foreskin. And they all have gonorrhea, so then you're going to get gonorrhea. Yes, little known fact, the koala population is overrun with STDs, which is like... They're the cutest little animals.
Because it's the only thing they actually do. They sit around in trees, they sleep, they eat eucalyptus,
and they have
sex.
And that's it. Life's rough.
Like living in an old folks' home.
Which is also overrun with gonorrhea. Oh, Lord. Okay. Rattlesnake venom. I got a rattlesnake from Jamrocks. It cost. That's your affair anyhow. This last item. I know a man who... Yes, well, I'll write the alternatives down. So far as I know the language, the spelling of this recipe is particularly atrocious. By the by, dog here probably means pariah dog. What's a pariah dog?
It's just a specific type of dog.
Oh, no. Oh, God. So we've got eggs, rattlesnake venom, and dog?
Well, I don't know. Keep reading. It's possible that it's
like dog urine
foreskin.
Or dog foreskin. I went to urine, foreskin, poop. We're going to find out. All right.
This dog is an example of an ancient group of dogs known as pie dogs, Pye dogs.
Oh. Oh, look at H.G. Wells being clever. For a month after that, I saw Pyecraft constantly at the club and as fat and anxious as ever. He kept our treaty, but at times he broke the spirit of it by shaking his head despondently. Then one day in the cloakroom, he said, "Your great-grandmother." "Not a word against her," I said, and he held his peace. I could have fancied he had desisted, and I saw him one day talking to 3 new members about his fatness, as though he was in search of other recipes. And then, quite unexpectedly, his telegram came. "Mr. Vermalion," bawled a page boy under my nose, and I took the telegram and opened it at once. "For heaven's sake, come, Pyecraft." Said I. And to tell the truth, I was so pleased at the rehabilitation of my great-grandmother's reputation, this evidently promised, that I made myself a most excellent lunch.
Yum.
I got Pyecraft's address from the hall porter. Pyecraft inhabited the upper half of a house in Bloomsbury, and I went there so soon as I had done my coffee and Trappistine? I did not wait to finish my cigar. Trappistine.
Trappistine caramels.
Ooh.
Candy.
Yummy. And he didn't even finish the cigar. He's like...
Soft, rich, creamy caramels.
So they're like Werther's Originals for back in the day.
Yeah, but not crunchy.
But not crunchy. They're soft.
They're soft and chewy.
Okay. Yummy. Yum, yum. "Mr. Pyecraft," I said at the front door. They believed he was ill. He hadn't been out for 2 days. "He expects me," said I, and they sent me up. I rang the bell at the lattice door upon the landing. "He shouldn't have tried it anyhow," I said to myself. "A man who eats like a pig ought to look like a pig." What a fucking asshole! What? Okay, Pyecraft sounds annoying and like slightly racist and a little, but he just sounds like he wants a better life for himself. This guy's an asshole.
This guy's a dick.
This guy's a dick. An obviously worthy woman with an anxious face and a carelessly placed cap came and surveyed me through the lattice. I gave my name and she let me in a dubious fashion. "Well," said I, as we stood together inside Pyecraft's piece of the landing. "He said you was to come in if you came," she said, and regarded me, making no motion to show me anywhere. And then confidently, "He's locked in, sir." "Locked in?" "Locked himself in yesterday morning, and he hasn't let anyone come in since, sir, and ever again swearing, oh my!" I stared at the door she indicated by her glances. "In there," I said. "Yes, sir." "What's up?" She shook her head sadly. "He keeps on calling for vitals, sir, heavy vitals and wants. I get him what I can, pork and ads, soil pudding, sausages, more bread. He thinks like that, left outside, if you please, and me go away. He's eating, sir, something awful." So he keeps calling for, like,
for
different
more food.
foods. Like, weird foods.
Is he pregnant?
That is what the potion does. It impregnates men.
Plot twist.
There came a piping bawl from inside the door. "That Vermalion?" "That you, Pyecraft?" I shouted and went to bang on the door. "Tell her to go away." I did. Then I could hear a curious pattering upon the door, almost like someone feeling for the handle in the dark, and Pyecraft's familiar grunts. "It's all right," I said. "She's gone." But for a long time, the door didn't open. I heard the key turn. Then Pyecraft's voice came. "Come in." I turned the handle and opened the door. Naturally, I expected to see Pyecraft. Well, he wasn't there. I never had such a shock in my life. There was his sitting room, in a state of untidy disorder, plates and dishes among the books and writing things and several chairs overturned, but Pyecraft... "It's all right, old man, shut the door," he said. And then I discovered him. There he was, right up close to the cornice in the corner of the door, as though someone had glued him to the ceiling. His face was anxious and angry. He panted. He panted and gesticulated. "Shut the door," he said, "if that woman gets hold of it." I shut the door and went and stood away from him and stared. "If anything gives way and you tumble down," said I, "you'll break your neck, Pyecraft." "I wish I could," he wheezed. "A man of your age and weight getting up to kiddish gymnastics." "Don't," he said, and looked agonized. "I'll tell you," he said, and gesticulated. "How the deuce," said I, "are you holding on up there?" And then abruptly I realized that he was not holding on at all, that he was floating up there. It's like Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory. He's so bloated.
It's weight loss.
It's no gravity.
Not size loss.
So he keeps eating to try and bring himself back to Earth.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. It's also like Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory. Oh, no.
So he needs to burp?
Burping, yep. And then abruptly I realized he was not holding on at all, that he had floated up there, just as a gas-filled bladder might have floated in the same position. He began to struggle to thrust himself away from the ceiling and to clamber down the wall to me. "It's that prescription," he panted as he did so. "Your great gran..." He took hold of a framed engraving rather carelessly as he spoke and gave way, and he flew back to the ceiling again while the picture smashed onto the sofa. Bump, he went against the ceiling, and I knew then why he was all over white on the more salient curves and angles of his person. He tried again more carefully, coming down by way of the mantel. God. It was really a most extraordinary spectacle. That great, fat, apoplectic-looking man upside down and trying to get from the ceiling to the floor. "That prescription," said he. "It's too successful." "How?" "Loss of weight. Almost complete." And then, of course, I understood. "By Jove, Pyecraft," said I. "What you wanted was a cure for fatness, but you also called it weight. You would call it weight." Somehow, I was extremely delighted. I quite liked Pyecraft for the time. It's fucked up. Oh, no. Oh, no. "Let me help you," I said, and took his hand and pulled him down. He kicked about, trying to get a foothold somewhere, and I was very like holding a flag on a windy day. "That table," he pointed. "It's solid mahogany and very heavy. If you put me under that." I did, and there he wallowed about like a captive balloon while I stood on his hearthrug and talked to him. I lit a cigar. "Tell me," I said, "what happened?" "I took it," he said. "How did it taste?" "Oh, beastly." I should fancy they all did. Whether one regards the ingredients or the probable compound or the probable results, almost all of my great-grandmother's remedies appeared to me at least to be extraordinarily uninviting. For my own part, I took a little sip first. Yes? And as I felt lighter and better after an hour, I decided to take the draft. My dear Pyecraft, I held my nose, he explained, and then I kept on getting lighter and lighter and helpless, you know. He gave way to a sudden burst of passion. "What the goodness am I to do?" he said. There's one thing pretty evident, I said, that you mustn't do. If you go out of doors, you'll go up and up. Jesus. I waved an arm upward. They'd have to send Santos Dumont after you to bring you down again. It must be like a famous aircraft.
Alberto Santos Dumont was a Brazilian inventor and aviation pioneer, one of the very few people to have contributed significantly to the early development of both lighter than air and heavier than air aircraft.
Okay, so like probably like hot air balloons.
Hot air balloons and airplanes,
Yeah, cool. They'd have to send Santos Dumont after you to bring you down again. I suppose it'll wear off. I shook my head. I don't think you can count on that, I said. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. And then there was another burst of passion, and he kicked out an adjacent chairs and banged the floor. He behaved just as I should have expected a great, fat, self-indulgent man to behave under trying circumstances. I hate you.
Oh, man, this guy is such a dick. So, do you know what this is reminding me of?
What?
An episode of The Office.
Oh.
Not a particular one, just generally.
Oh.
Where they're
both like terrible people.
Kind of funny, but largely mean-spirited things happening.
Yeah.
And if you don't think about it too much, you get a chuckle. But if you pay attention to what everyone is actually saying and doing, you're like, these people are all horrible fucking people.
Yeah, which is why I've never been able to get into The Office, which is why I like Parks and Rec, because they are having similar situations, but they're all wonderful human beings with the best intentions. So, yeah. But yes, okay. So now I'm going to envision Steve Carell as the narrator, and what's his butt? The guy that's kind of a dick.
Which one? They're all kind of dicks. Dwight?
That's it. See, I've never watched it. They're interchangeable. I don't know which one's which, but I imagine it's a conversation now between those two.
Great.
Fabulous. And then there was another burst of passion, and he kicked out an adjacent chairs and banged the floor. He behaved just as I should expect a great, fat, self-indulgent man to behave under trying circumstances. That is to say, very badly. Such an asshole. He spoke of me and my great-grandmother with an utter want of discretion. So, lots of swear words.
Yep.
So, he said, fuck that stupid...
Yes, he got meowed out a lot.
He got meow, 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 meowed. I never asked you to take the stuff, I said. I mean, I guess that's true.
In fact, I told you not to.
Yeah, he said I wouldn't. And generously disregarded the insults he was putting upon me. I sat down in his armchair and began to talk to him in a sober, friendly fashion. I pointed out to him that this was a trouble he had brought upon himself, and that it was almost an air of poetical justice. He had eaten too much. This he disputed, and for a time we argued the point. He became noisy and violent, so I desisted from this aspect of his lesson. And then, said I, you committed the sin of euphemism? You called it not fat, which is just the inglorious, but weight. He interrupted to say he recognized all of that. What was he to do? He's like, yeah, I get it, you dick. Now tell me how to fix it. I suggested that he should adapt himself to the new conditions. So he came to the real sensible part of the business. I suggested that it could not be difficult for him to learn to walk about the ceiling with his hands. I can't sleep, he said. But that was no great difficulty. It was quite possible, I pointed out, to make a shake-up under a wire mattress, fasten under things on with tapes, and have a blanket sheet and coverlet to button at the side. He would have to confide in his housekeeper, I said, and after some squabbling, he agreed to that. Afterwards, it was quite delightful to see the beautifully matter-of-fact way in which the good lady took on these amazing inversions. Oh, that was all a little parenthetical. Right. He could have a library ladder in his room, and all his meals could be laid up on top of his bookcase. We also hit on the ingenious device by which he could get to the floor whenever he wanted, which was simply to put the British Encyclopedia, 10th edition, on the top of open shelves. I love that little 10th edition. He just pulled out a couple of volumes and held on, and down he came. And we agreed that there must be iron staples along the skirting so that he could cling to those whenever he wanted to get about the room on the lower levels. As we got on the thing, I found myself almost keenly interested. It was I who called in the housekeeper and broke matters to her, and it was I who chiefly fixed up the inverted bed. In fact, I spent 2 whole days at his flat. I am a handy, interfering sort of man with a screwdriver, and I made all sorts of ingenious adaptations for him. I ran a wire to bring his bells within reach, turned on his electric lights up instead of down, and so on. The whole affair was extremely curious and interesting to me, and it was delightful to think of Pyecraft like some great fat blowfly crawling about on his ceiling and clambering round in the lintels of the doors from one room to another, and never coming to the club anymore.
But we know that doesn't work out.
Oh, no. Then, my fatal ingenuity got the better of me. I was sitting by his fire drinking his whiskey, and he was up in his favorite corner by the cornice, tacking a Turkey carpet to the ceiling. Oh, it's a Turkish carpet. When the idea struck me, "By Jove, Pyecraft," I said, "all this is totally unnecessary." And before I could calculate the complete consequences of my notion, I blurted it out. "Lead underclothing," said I.
Yeah, I was thinking just put on like a weight vest and ankle weights.
Yep. And the mischief was done. Pyecraft received the thing almost in tears. "To be right ways up again," he said. I gave him the whole secret before I saw where it would take me. "Buy sheet lead," I said. "Stamp it into discs. Sew them all over your underclothes until you have enough. Have lead-soled boots. Carry a bag of solid lead. And the thing is done. Instead of being a prisoner here, you may go abroad again, Pyecraft. You may travel." A still happier idea came to me. "You need never fear a shipwreck. All you need to do is just slip off all of your clothes, take the necessary amount of luggage in your hand, and float up in the air." In his emotion, he dropped the tack hammer within an ace of my head. "By Jove," he said, "I shall be able to come back to the club again." He did. And he does. There he sits behind me now, stuffing, as I live, a third go of buttered tea cake, and no one in the whole world knows, except his housekeeper and me, that he weighs practically nothing, that he is a mere boring mass of assimilatory matter, mere clouds of clothing. Ninti nefas? This is Latin.
The first word, nenti, is nothing in Italian, and the second word, nephis, is Latin, and loosely means wrong, apparently.
Okay.
So it's like he's not there. He's weird.
It's off.
Yeah,
it's odd.
There's something off.
Yep. He is a mere boring mass of assimilatory matter, mere clouds in nothing. Nenti, nefas, the most inconsiderable of men. There he sits, watching until I have done this writing. Then, if he can, he will waylay me. He will come billowing up to me. He will tell me over again all about it, how he feels, how it doesn't feel, how he sometimes hopes it is passing off a little, and always somewhere in that fat, abundant discourse he will say, "The secret's keeping, eh? If anyone knew of it, I should be so ashamed. Makes a fellow look such a fool, you know, crawling about on the ceiling and all that." And now to elude Pyecraft, occupying, as he does, an admirable strategic position between me and the door. The end. So he was writing it all down so he could basically take it to the newspaper or something and publish it so it's like out in the open and it's not like on him anymore.
Yeah.
But now he has to like get past
Pyecraft.
who weighs a shit ton because all he's wearing is lead.
Yeah.
That was odd.
That was a very bizarre story.
What? So basically, the moral is...
Don't take medical advice from weird dudes at the club.
Yeah. Weird dude. Yeah. Yep. That's that. Don't take medicine from weird dudes at the club.
That might be the saddest story we have yet read.
It was sad in the fact that, like, both of them were assholes and they both kind of got what they deserved. Because, like, honestly, this guy, Pyecraft, was, like, in his heart, I think it was coming from a good place of, like, will you help me? Will you help me, like, lose weight? Will you help me?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, stop asking the people that are smoking cigars at the club and, like, go, like, I guess go to a doctor, I guess is, like, all I can say. But so he was just kind of the annoying friend.
Yeah.
And then this guy was like, this guy's annoying, so I'm going to, like, play pranks on him. And I'm wondering what happened to the other guy.
Well, so the thing is, like, it's not even what either of them did.
Yeah.
That was, like, neither of them were intentionally cruel.
Yeah.
Until the end, when he decided he was going to write the whole story down. It was the thing of, like, it was the attitude that both of them had.
Well, it was very
about the other. Like
they were both very hoity-toity British men. So you have to remember that both these men are very, very wealthy, probably.
Yeah.
And therefore, we hate them anyway. So let's just imagine that the fat Pyecraft was Trump, and the other guy is like Ted Cruz or something.
Yeah.
So they're both wealthy people who we hate that actually do hate each other. They just never say it to each other's faces. And yeah.
It is, and that kind of works because it really was, for me, reminiscent of my experience trying to get through The Office, where it's a bunch of situations that are, like, odd and kind of amusing, but my overwhelming feeling is I don't like any of the people in this story.
Yeah, if they're not and I've tried to start watching The Office with that exact same experience. I still can't put my finger on what it reminded me of, like the actual story. It's a very be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very much that story. Well, in the one story we read, that was the Three Wishes. The guy, the monkey's paw. The monkey's paw.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is very much of that realm. And also don't take drugs from the guy at the bar.
Yeah.
It's two morals.
Lots of morals. Medical shortcuts aren't
real. Also, be careful what you wish for. Also, don't be a dick. Also, don't join, like, country clubs because there's an asshole and they're probably plotting your death behind your back. Sorry to anybody out here there who belongs to a country club. I know a lot of people who belong to country clubs. I'm sure it's not universal.
Really? I don't know a lot of people who belong to country clubs.
I do. Most of my family. Yeah.
Fair enough. I don't.
Well, they're not. I don't think they're as big in Minnesota. I don't know. There's a lot in here. There's a lot in Iowa. Like, there seem to be a lot. Like, it basically any place there is a golf course tends to have a club attached to it, and I have a family full of golfers. So they're not even, like, necessarily, like the one in Eldora, the Pine Lake Country Club. it is literally a golf course and a restaurant. They just call it the country club. It's for a small town in Iowa. It's mainly farmers that go golfing. So country club is a loose term. Yeah. But
you're not sitting around smoking cigars
and eating caviar. No. You're eating a burger after your round of golf and having a beer.
Snarky things about old lady what's her name who's spending a lot of time with a tennis pro.
Yeah. Oh, I don't even know if they have tennis pros, but that's fun. I hope that's what's happening in Eldora. Be like, oh my gosh, Mildred, she's been hanging out a lot with Tommy. Those are their names. I'm sticking to it.
Mildred and Tommy.
Mildred and Tommy.
All right, about Mildred and Tommy.
All right, I think that's it. I think we're good. So tell 5 friends about Campfire Classics. Follow us on the Twitters and the Facebooks and all those things. What's our secret word this week, Ken?
Koala foreskin. So if you've made it this far into the episode,
oh my God,
and I really hope you have, well, and I know you have because you're listening to me say this. When you message us, please, in the message, in the subject line, whatever, somewhere, just mention koala foreskin.
Yeah, please. I can't wait for all my my email and my Twitter messenger and stuff to start blowing up with the keywords koala foreskin. Yep. Because I'm the one that receives them, and then I laugh and tell Ken. Yeah. So
I'm really just trying to mess up everyone's Google settings.
Google algorithms. Yep. Yeah, it's true. So koala foreskin, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Campfire Classics. Because as we said at the beginning, we are very classy.
Yep. Yeah, so subscribe, tell your friends, leave us a review.
On Apple Podcast or Good Pods or, Yep, check us out.
And that's it.
That's it.
So, until next week, this has been Campfire Classics, where we try to read those books that look really good on your shelf.
I'm a cuddly koala and I have STDs. Do 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 do.